All right, what's up, everyone? It's Andrew Bone with BamaInsider.com. Here to talk to you guys just a little bit about what's been going on with the recruiting the last guess week or so. I'll take a few questions as well. At the end, it won't be a big long segment. We'll try to knock it out here pretty quick, but just kind of want to get everyone updated on what's been going on. So, about I guess it was 6 days ago, last Friday, Alabama picked up its second running back commitment in this 2020 recruiting class, Kyle Edwards, out of Destrehan High School in Louisiana. Kyle Edwards, big, strong running back, great speed. It looks like he's going to have a chance to really have a big senior season because the last 2 years, he set behind LSU freshman John Emery, who was one of the top overall running backs in the country. But there's a lot of buzz about Kyle Edwards, and I think he's got a good chance to really improve his stock. He's already a four-star recruit on Rivals.com, but I mean, this is a guy that is a four-star and hasn't started a game until now. So he's going to have an opportunity to really showcase himself this year. I mean, big back, 6 foot, 210 pounds, extremely strong, runs with a lot of power. Kind of like most of the running backs that we've seen down in Tuscaloosa the last several years. So I think Alabama's extremely excited about him. There was a time where most of us kind of thought that Alabama was only going to take 2 running backs in this class. Now they still may only sign 2, but I definitely think that 3 is on the table now. You never know what may happen after this season with Najee Harris, Brian Robinson. Both of those guys could easily turn pro, which would leave Alabama with a pretty thin backfield. They do have Roydell Williams, who I think is one of the top overall players in the country, committed. Now you get Kyle Edwards on the commitment list. Now, a lot of people said, okay, well, this must mean that Zach Evans is going elsewhere. Now, I do think Zach Evans is going to commit to Georgia. I think that's going to happen relatively soon. I don't think he's set a date just yet, but I do think he commits to Georgia. But I also don't think his recruitment is going to be over by any means. I think he's going to make a decision, and then he's going to take his official visits. He's going to have the in-home visits with coaches, after the season is over. A long way to go for the end of his recruitment. So, Alabama very happy to get Kyle Edwards on board. But at the same time, they're not done at running back. Alabama's going to continue to recruit Zach Evans, continue to make him a priority, even if he does commit to Georgia here pretty soon. And then, Alabama's still recruiting Jace McClellan, the Rivals 100 running back that's committed to Oklahoma from the state of Texas. He's actually Scooby Carter's cousin. So Scooby's trying to recruit him to Alabama. Now, I don't know if Alabama's got a really good shot with him right now. I mean, he's going to make it back to campus for an official visit, but I still think it's going to be a long shot for him to flip. So, Alabama's happy with the guys they have right now, and they're still pushing for one more. But I think the best chance, even if he does commit to Georgia, is still going to be Evans for down the road. So, we'll keep an eye on that, especially when he sets his official visits for all these other schools. Even if he does commit here pretty soon to the Bulldogs. All right, another big news, decommitment-wise, was Javier Morton. And we've talked about this before. I've been saying it for the last probably 2 or 3 months that he was not going to be in Alabama's recruiting class. I was kind of surprised he waited until yesterday to announce that he was reopening his recruitment. And I think this has kind of been a done deal for like I said, a couple months now. He hasn't been back to Tuscaloosa, never made it back for any of the big recruiting events during the summer. So when those events don't have, you don't make it back to those events, you don't have much communication with the staff. You had to pretty much assume that it's a done deal. They're parting ways. It's just kind of up to the player whenever he wants to announce that. So I've been saying it for 2 months now that he wasn't going to be part of the class. I didn't really consider him much of a commitment over the last month or so, but now officially decommitted, reopened things. So people keep asking me, oh, well, now that a spot has opened up. Well, a spot never opened up. I mean, or it did, but it did a while back. And that's why Alabama's been pressing for these other defensive backs, whether it's Nadab Joseph, Joel Williams, Alabama's still trying to, maybe get Elias Ricks, the 5-star cornerback, number one corner in the country. He's committed to LSU, trying to get him on campus for an official visit. But Alabama has 4 really good defensive back commitments right now. They're trying to hold on to all of those guys, and then possibly add 1 or 2 more down the road. But still heavily pursuing Joe Williams, who's going to commit on September the 9th. I have him forecasted to Alabama, so I think Alabama is going to pick up their 5th defensive back commitment when Joel Williams commits on September the 9th. Big cornerback out of Baton Rouge, was formerly committed to Florida, then earned an offer from Alabama in June, decommitted, kind of assumed that he was going to commit to Alabama sometime in late June after he decommitted from Florida, or maybe in July, but he continued to just hold off from making a decision. Well, now he's going to decide on September the 9th, which is his mom's birthday. So big day for him, big moment for his family as well. So I think that he will commit to Alabama on September the 9th, and that'll give Alabama 5 DB commits. And then, I don't think 6 is, out of the realm at all. I think they'll still are going after some big time guys. I don't really put Alabama much of a chance with guys like Elias Ricks or Keely Ringo. That even those guys are probably going to visit. I think the best shot is with Nadab Joseph, who we've talked about for it seems like a long time, because he was a former Alabama commitment, signed with Georgia in 2018. Still has Alabama and Georgia as his top 2 schools right now. But I like Alabama's chances with him. He didn't qualify coming out of high school, and he's at Independence Community College in Kansas. But definitely expect him to have a big year, and then make a commitment down the road. But I like Alabama's chances with him right now. All right, so that's kind of what I wanted to hit on real quick in terms of recent decisions. And now I'll go on to and talk about some of the guys that are coming in for the Alabama-Duke game this weekend. Now, it's a little different than an unofficial visit for a home game, because at home games you see these guys lining up and down the sidelines, walking around, talking to the coaches, watching the players warm up. They get on campus, they're able to tour the facilities and see everything. This is not going to be like that. This is going to be one of those situations where there's tickets, possibly at a will call window or somewhere like that. They go to the game. They're just going to be treated just like you or I at a football game. We're going to get a ticket. We're going to go in. We're going to sit down, watch the game, and then we're going to leave. There's not going to be any communication with the coaching staff at all. Just a free ticket to the game, and it is allowed by the NCAA. So it's kind of cool for whether you're a kid from the state of Georgia, or even some of the kids from the state of Alabama, being able to go to Alabama's first football game at the Mercedes-Benz Stadium. So it's a cool experience for those kids. But there's going to be some big time guys that are going to be on I want to say on campus, but at the Mercedes-Benz Stadium. The first big name that I'll talk about is Eric Gilbert. I think that's a huge get for Alabama, even though he's at Marietta High School, which is you probably throw a rock from the stadium to Marietta. But I think that getting him over there for that game's huge, especially after he made a trip to Tuscaloosa for the cookout in late July. He's also on campus in June. I think Alabama's chances with him have definitely increased over the course of the last few months. Probably the last month. Alabama's done a great job recruiting Eric Gilbert, the number 1 tight end in the country. So getting him over there, I think, is great. Even though he's a local kid, good to get him over there to the game on Saturday. A couple of Georgia commitments that are going to be there. They've been recruited by Alabama for a long time. Jamil Burroughs, Nazir Stackhouse, both 4-star defensive tackles. They've made a lot of visits to Tuscaloosa, and I've kind of said that I think that Alabama's best chance, one of those guys, is probably Jamil Burroughs, who's made a few more visits to Tuscaloosa than Georgia lately. So keep an eye out for him. There's some guys that are going to be coming over from the state of Alabama, including some commitments. Christian Story, Jackson Bratton, Malachi Moore. All those guys are going to be there. I didn't mention the kids from the state of Georgia that are committed, like William Anderson, Brian Branch, Javon Baker, who else? Seth McLaughlin. All those guys are going to be at the game on Saturday night, so that's going to be exciting for them to see their team, in their home state play on Saturday afternoon. So, Yeah, I mean that's pretty much it, guys. In terms of just going over some of the visitors that are going to be at the game. Like I said, I think it's huge for Alabama to get those guys, even though they can't talk to them, they can't communicate. It's big for them to come over to the game and watch watch one of the teams that they're considering. So I'll take a few questions and then I will get out of here, guys. Let's see here. Any movement on the tight ends? Like I said, I think Alabama's got a good chance with Eric Gilbert. I think it's the chances have increased over the course of the last few months. I don't know about Darnell Washington. I know Darnell has Alabama in his top five, but I think they're probably on the outside looking in right now. He's taking an official visit to Alabama later on, so that may turn things. But as of right now, I think Alabama's chances with Eric Gilbert are a little bit better than Darnell Washington. Let's see. When it comes to recruiting a high caliber player, do you think Nick Saban and his staff are more likely to get the player to commit when they discover them earlier in the process as opposed to when? Let's see. That's a tough question. You know, I don't know about kids who commit early because you always got to worry about them committing when they're sophomores or whenever, and then they decide to take visits. Like last year, we saw guys like Evan Neal, Trey Sanders, both committed after their freshman year to Alabama, and then backed up from their commitment. I think it really can go either way. I mean, some of these kids commit and they stay committed throughout the whole process, but some continue to take visits even if they're discovered early. So I don't think it really matters that much. What about Javon Baker? I mentioned him earlier. He's going to be at the game on Saturday. Still pretty solid with his commitment to Alabama. What do I think is the game plan for Tua? How long they're going to play him? I think he'll be out pretty early, to be honest with you. I think probably he'll play in the third quarter. I think Alabama will be up by a lot, and I don't think there's probably any reason for him to play in the fourth quarter. At least Alabama probably hopes there's not a reason for him to play in the fourth quarter. Georgia Tech coming on strong with the culture change. I mean Georgia Tech's having a great recruiting year. Like I said, with Javier Morton, who just decommitted, and everybody, a lot of people think, oh, Georgia Tech's a favorite now, which they are. It really didn't have much to do with Georgia Tech out recruiting Alabama for Javon Baker. He's, pretty much been a, non-commitment for the last couple months. But yeah, I mean, they're going to get a good player in Javier Morton. I think Jeff Collins is doing a good job over there. Oh, nice. My prediction on the game. I did give a score prediction for the game. I think I turned it in yesterday, 54-16. My MVP for the game, Jalen. How do I feel about two true freshmen starting linebackers? They're going to get thrown in the fire here pretty quick, guys. It's certainly a tough situation, but I think the biggest thing with Shane Lee is the fact that he enrolled early. He's been there for a while, so he's gone through everything. Christian Harris is getting a lot of love from Coach Saban, and he didn't enroll early, but he's obviously made a big impact during the fall. And I think by mid-October they should. You hope they have things figured out by then. I think there's probably going to be a few bumps in the road along them, but probably good that it had these injuries happened early before the season even started, as opposed to happening in late October or November when you get into the biggest games of the season, LSU, A&M, Auburn, possible playoff game, possible SEC championship game. Good to have those guys get a lot of experience, these next couple months leading up to that. All right. Ben Davis on the spotlight now as well. Well, we're going to see. We're going to see if he can make some plays and get on the field. Obviously, he looked like he was second team right now, so I think that he's going to have an opportunity to maybe finally live up to that 5-star rating. Byron Young turned out better than Sopsher. It's still early, guys. I never want to, count out a guy early on. We probably have seen, plenty of players come through that, they didn't make an impact as a true freshman or right away, and they, may develop later on in the process. I mean, thinking about guys like Reggie Ragland, Reuben Foster. I mean, those are guys who, they played, but they weren't major impact players until probably, maybe their junior year. So, maybe it takes a little bit of time. There's a lot of talent in front of them, a lot of guys hungry to try and get on the field. So, I still think there's a long way to go. You can't really judge a freshman at this point in the process. So you got to judge them, 2, 3 years down the road. Yeah, Quinnen Williams as well. I don't think anyone was talking about Quinnen Williams being a top 5 NFL draft pick, going into his junior season last year. So, and there's going to be some players this year that are going to make a big impact that we're not talking about, going into the season, and guys that are probably going to see their draft stock, certainly increase with a great season. Recruiting quiet period right now. Any kids flying under the radar that we might take a commitment from that we should look out for? Well, the spots are just really limited right now. You have 22 commitments. A lot of guys that are still out there on the offensive and defensive side of the board. Most of the guys that we've been talking about, for a while. The Eric Gilberts, the McKinley Jacksons, the Joel Williams of the world, those type of guys. We keep talking about the same guys. Nobody that's really just popping up out of nowhere just yet. There may be some offensive linemen that yet pop up down the road. Alabama did offer an offensive lineman this week. Arian Parks out of out of Virginia. Alabama offered him, but I think right now they're probably not going to take another offensive lineman. It may happen down the road. I would watch out for possibly Alabama pushing for another offensive lineman down the road. And they've extended some recent O-line offers. I think pretty much means they're interested. They might take an offensive lineman down the road. I don't think they've decided on that 100% just yet. But I would maybe watch out for some offensive linemen coming in for visits. Maybe throughout the season or even in December. Any news on Savell Smalls? Not really. I mean, we all saw his top 6 that came out last week with Alabama in it. We all, saw the tweet his dad sent out about, surprised that Alabama fans weren't tweeting at him. I thought that was kind of, a little ridiculous. Who cares if fans tweet at you for liking, for you naming them in your top 5 or whatever, top 6. I don't think that really matters. Social media shouldn't matter to recruits, to their parents, to anybody. So, nothing new to report. I don't think Savell Smalls goes to Alabama. Haven't thought that for a long time. Even though he continues to mention Alabama in his top group, you think he goes elsewhere. All right. Who's going to make the biggest noise this year, Dale or Alfano? I think it's going to be DJ Dale. I think that he's got a good chance to make a real big impact. Does Xavier McKinney relay calls to the inside linebackers? Maybe. You're gonna have to ask Tony. I haven't been spending a ton of time following the team this fall, so you're gonna have to ask Tony or Kyle on Bama Insider about that. I personally think Alabama's defense will be good. They're very talented. Secondary is extremely talented this year. Defensive line, very talented. Make sure you continue to get some guys out there, fresh legs, build some depth this season. But yeah, I think Alabama definitely has a great defense this year. I mean, think about all the line. They may have lost some great inside linebackers, but they still got some great outside linebackers. I think they'll be fine. It sucks not having two. Your top 2 inside linebackers heading into fall camp are now out for the season. I think that sucks for Alabama. It's going to be tough to replace, but there's a lot of talent out there on the field, and I think they'll be pretty good. Do I think Alabama will sign Eric Gilbert? As I said, I think Alabama's chances have been improving lately. I think they've got it's very good that he's coming over to the Mercedes-Benz Stadium this weekend. I'm sure he'll make it to Tuscaloosa. I think the chances have definitely been increasing over the course of the last month or so. Not ready to make a prediction just yet, but I think that Alabama is heading in the right direction. Do I think Alabama will get Bryce Young? I do. I think that will come down the road, but I do think Alabama gets him. All right, guys. That's going to be it for today. Right at about 20 minutes, kind of what I wanted to do today, just kind of update you guys on a couple recent decisions. The the guest list for the Alabama Duke game, which you can find the complete list on BamaInsider.com. Be sure to sign up for BamaInsider.com. Join our community, join our fan base over there. We'd love to have you. Love to talk to you every single day over there. Be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel, and we will see you guys next week. All right. Thanks.